Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here. In today's video, we'll be going over the latest Washington Commanders 2025 draft rumors. I'll be going over all the guys that they visited with, that they have top 30 visits scheduled with, and some rumors overall. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, that notification bell as well. Comment down below who you want the Washington Commanders to draft in the first round. For me, edge rusher, I think Mike Green would be great, obviously. And then James Pierce, have talked about those guys the last couple days, would be great fits for the Commanders. Don't know or think they'll, be there at 29, but, you never know. Then a receiver could possibly be in play, a running back, you never know, offensive line. Like there's, safety. There's so many different positions that the Washington Commanders could go after. But let's get into draft rumors, and we'll start off with not even rumors, just top 30 visits they have scheduled. So let's see. Let's shout out to Hogs Haven for all this information. So these are the visits they have scheduled. Gerard Christian Lichtenhan from Oregon State. Shout out Oregon State there. Then you got their rival, the Ducks, Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle. I believe he's like a borderline first-round guy. Then you got Sean Fresh out of Rice. So they drafted a guy out of Rice last year, Luke McCaffrey. You got Sean Taylor's brother, Gabe Taylor, who is at Rice and is going to be, has entered the draft. I don't think he's going to get drafted, but I could see him, signing somewhere as an undrafted free agent. He ran a 4.38 40-yard dash. So, I made a video about him this past week. Go ahead and check that out. But, that would be cool. But there's the Rice connection. And then Wyatt Milliam, offensive tackle out of West Virginia. Then you got Femi Oladejo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Kind of a D-end linebacker out of UCLA. So, the most of the media has him like not in the first round, maybe like in the second round, some even like third-ish. But I think he's rising up the draft boards. I think, the Commanders have some connections with him. I believe Ken Norton Jr. I don't know, but I read somewhere that they have a connection there. He coached him in at UCLA, and then you got Adam Peters, who I believe went to UCLA, so you got a connection there. Quincy Riley, cornerback out of Louisville, talked about that in another video, but here's a little graphic and some information about him from Josh Taylor. And Tony Pauline reported this, but they've met with him multiple times, probably Senior Bowl and combine, stuff like that. If he was at the Senior Bowl, he is probably going to be a day two, late day two, early day three pick, a little bit older, but that's fine. 20, I think he's 23. And a lot of, times the older players, they're ready to play a little bit more. They've been in the league for longer, or they've been in, college for longer. So they're more NFL ready. So those are the top 30 visits. And those are usually, you only get 30 of them. So they're a little bit more reserved. So these are private workouts. I'm just going to scroll through. There's so many names. Jackson Dart, QB, it doesn't matter. The Commanders don't need a QB1. Maybe they draft a guy on like day 3 or undrafted free agent. But I think, they have Marcus Mariota, who they signed for another year. You got Sam Hartman. So ideally, they're developing Hartman to be the backup or stick around for the third string. Jeff Driscoll's still a free agent. But there's some of these guys, maybe they'll be undrafted free agents. Riley Leonard, I don't know where he's going to get drafted. Kyle McCord, like a lot of these guys are going to be borderline. Then you got wide receivers. Got the Stanford guy. He, obviously has ties with, some of the guys in the Commanders, or at least one guy in the Commanders coaching staff, and Tavita Pritchard. And something to watch there. You got Isaiah Bond, who's going to be in that range, and you guys can see, I'm not going to say every name, but you can see where they met with them. If it was at a Senior Bowl meeting, a Team Pro meeting, Combine meeting, or like I said, Pro Day, or certain bowl like East West Shrine meeting. So Luther Burden, he could be an option late day 1. Day 2, you got Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State. That's a late day 1 option. DeQuan Felton, shout out Virginia Tech. He's another guy. Ty Felton, another option. You got Matthew Golden. A lot of receivers here: Higgins, Tez Johnson, Jalen Lane. A lot of these guys, they have to meet with them anyways. If they go to the Senior Bowl, like they get a Senior Bowl meeting with all these guys. So I'm pretty sure at least. So, it doesn't matter too much. And then some of these guys, they only go to the pro days at like Tet McMillan from Arizona. They met with him at the pro day. I believe they went to like 64 different pro days. Let's see, any other ones? Jalen Noel, or Iowa State, NFL Combine formal meeting, Senior Bowl meeting, and Team Pro Day meeting. So they met with him 3 times. We got another Maryland guy. The Terps, tough loss yesterday. But I don't want to talk about that. I know some of y'all are a little still upset about that. You got Elijah Arroyo from Miami. He's really good. I think he'll be a day 2 pick, early day 2 pick. You got Harold Fannin, and I'm just going through the names. These are the guys that they've met with. Do they meet with Tyler Warren? I don't see it, but it is what it is. Running backs is a little bit more, applicable to the Commanders just because, they definitely need a running back. So Donovan Edwards, Taj Brooks has some connections with the Commanders, Texas Tech. You got Cliff Kingsbury, who was a coach at Texas Tech. Definitely not when he was there. But I was reading they have some kind of connection. There's another one there too. Ollie Gordon, Omarion Hampton. They met with him at the Shrine meeting and then the Team Pro Day meeting. Travion Henderson. I'm trying to see my guy Tootin is here. Let's see, Devin Neal, Cam Scatabo, Bashal Tootin. They met with him at the Senior Bowl and then Team Pro Day meeting. And then offensive line, there's a lot of guys. Will Campbell, top guy. But you see the guys with the top 30 visit and then the NFL Combine formal meeting, that's like a little bit more like, okay, like that's showing a little bit more interest. And Josh Conerly from Oregon had a Combine meeting and a top 30 visit. So, definitely something to watch out for there. And yeah, just going through all these names. If you want to pause, you can, see who it is. But there's just so many names that obviously I can't go through everything. But I just want to give you guys that information. And again, shout out to Hogs Haven here for all that information. A lot of different cornerbacks. I mean, when you go to all these events, you get to meet with all these guys without like any like top 30 visits. That's, you have a finite amount of those, but these ones, not really. So, you can meet it with as many players as you possibly can. You see Nick Emenwari, the safety out of South Carolina, who just absolutely tore up the NFL Combine, just like Bashal Tootin from Virginia Tech. But yeah, that's basically it on the meetings right there. I think the top 30 visits are really what matter, but you can see all this stuff right here. Antoine Powell-Ryland, APR from Virginia Tech as well. You got Jack Sawyer, Ohio State, will be a day 2 pick. You got Nick Scorton, probably a late day 1, day 2 pick. Josiah Stewart, Shamar Stewart, both would be early picks as well. So they've met with a lot of the top guys. They're doing their due diligence for sure. Doing their due diligence. And then you can see the long list of college, or not college games. That's later, but pro days that were attended, and then the college games, a lot of them. So the Commanders have been busy. For sure. And they're doing their due diligence, just like all these other teams are. But so just some information there. Let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Talked about this, but they had a formal combine meeting with him as well. So definitely something to watch out for. And then, there's been some rumors, a month or two ago, Commanders are going to be looking for a new RB1. I think JP Finley said, he would be very surprised if Brian Robinson was he said he would be surprised if Brian Robinson was RB1. So look for a running back on day 1 or sometime day 2, depending on what they do with their draft picks, trading up, trading down, which I would definitely assume more trading down than trading up. But, you got guys like Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Omarion Hampton. I don't think will be there when they pick at 29. If he is, then maybe they take him. You got, Bashal Tootin, Taj Brooks, who I talked about, will be a day 3 pick. A bunch of different names. Sampson from Tennessee, Johnson from Iowa. There's just so many different running backs, and it's just going to be who fits what the Commanders want. But that is it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.